Maxwell, we're going a bit country this week.
Yeah, we are.
We are joined by American country star Kip Moore.
Yeah, and when we say we mean you.
You in spirit.
I was unavailable for this particular chat.
I tell you what, I've been on
You've been on a bit of a run.
bit of a run.
I know.
Solo. Run solo over here.
He's a solo man.
No, it was a great chat with Kip. He tuned in from, it felt like his workshop in his house, but a great guy, great energy. We talked about his upcoming or new album.
New album, Reason to Believe, out now. And he's bringing the Reason to Believe tour down here to Australia in just a couple of months.
Yeah, and we got invited to go backstage and smash some beers with him.
Sure did.
So, I mean, we've never been to a Kip Moore show. I'm very excited to see it come to life. Mm-hmm. It's probably more for country fans out there on the rockier side of things.
Yeah.
Very storytelling, very... he's always experimenting with his sound as well. I think that was the one takeaway I had from the chat. He said that the Kip Moore sound is always evolving. No album ever really will sound the same because as a musician, as a creative, as a songwriter, you always want to evolve. And he's already working on a new album.
Yeah, he's, by the sounds of it, very productive. So
never stops.
Yeah, incredible. But I reckon if you want to get a bit of an insight into his creative process, have a listen to the interview because you guys do cover it a little bit. So, Sam, I'm going to throw it to you to have a chat with Kip Moore.
All right, dialing in with us ahead of his Reason to Believe tour, heading to Australia. We're joined by Kip Moore. Mate, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, my man. Good to be here.
We start the show the same way every week, Kip, and that's just to get an idea of what's spinning in your playlist as of late.
Oh, wow. I've had a little bit of Sam Fender.
Okay.
I've had a little Van Morrison. I've had a little bit of Dua Lipa, surprisingly. A little bit of Tom Petty. I've kind of been all over the place here.
Okay, I mean, Dua Lipa is a bit of a curveball. Which of her tracks have you been spinning?
Oh man, I've just been kind of like randomly playing her stuff. I'm kind of like out of the loop, and I know how big she's been for a long time, and I haven't really heard anything besides a few hits you hear on the radio, here and there. But I couldn't tell you some tracks off the top of my head, but I've just been trying to. I love to dive into people to try to understand, I was super late on the whole Zach Bryan thing, and I ended up taking a drive and just listening to a couple records to try to understand how it became so massive, So been doing that a little bit. I've been listening to a little bit of old Fleetwood Mac, a little bit of Genesis, throwing it all away. I've been all over, man.
Sounds like a good spread. I love that.
Yeah.
And look,
sure.
For our listeners tuning in who may not know who Kip Moore is, your sound really pulls from a whole different collection of genres, from country to rock, and you sort of throw some blues in there as well. But I wanted to rewind a little bit, if I could, and just start by asking who were some of these big artists and tracks that you listened to growing up that inspired the sound that you have now?
Wow. I mean, I looked up to my dad a whole lot. And luckily, now that I'm an adult, I realize the good taste in music that he had. He was playing a lot of Bob Seger, a lot of Motown, from the Temptations to Sam Cooke to Otis Redding to people like Van Morrison to Bruce Springsteen. He was all over. And then I would hear things like Dave Mason, We Just Disagree, where those country roots started to come in. And he'd listen to Redheaded Stranger, that record, pretty often, of Willie Nelson. So I think I found my love of lyric through a lot of the country writers, from Christopherson to people like Don Schlitz, to Brett James, the modern songwriters, to Tom Petty. And then I was obsessed with the melodic and sonic structure of songs like Under Pressure with David Bowie and Springsteen, The Who. So I think that through the years, and I love the powerhouse singers like Tina Turner and Sam Cooke and those people. So I'm always trying to stretch vocally and deliver a lot of power when those choruses hit. So I think that's probably why that stuff just naturally kind of bleeds out of me, where there's a lot of rock and roll influence, with the craft of a country lyric.
It's interesting that you mentioned a couple of those influences, because I wanted to dive straight into Reason to Believe, and it only dropped just over a month ago, so congratulations first of all.
Thank you.
But I guess the usual Bruce Springsteen comparison comes for you, but through the album, in the title track, there almost feels like a bit of a U2 sound going on, or Lonely Tonight brings that piano and big build and harks back to, The Who, which is interesting that you raised them. So approaching the album, what was the sort of direction you wanted to take to the record and the sound as a whole? Because it feels like a bit of a change up from Solitary Tracks.
Yeah, I mean, well, in the project that I'm currently working on right now will sound completely different than this. I'm never going to make the same record twice for you. I mean, when you look at the difference in Solitary Tracks and Damn Love, it was drastic, So there's always a thread of what I do as a writer and as an artist in all the records. But I'm always just trying to experiment with sounds, sonic nature. And for me, the snare drum was the focus on this record. I kind of crafted a sound around a snare sound that I loved. And so I wanted a lot of these tracks to feel anthemic. I focused heavily on not stacking parts. I wanted the guys in the room in the band. I said, you have one part. This is your part throughout this record. We're not going to do any stacking. We're going to pan you left. We're going to pan you right. There's no doodling. This is going to be the part here. And that was a heavy focus to really let that snare and the vocal really soar. And then I wanted those choruses just to have so much lift without there being a lot of stuff in the way.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting. Do you feel like as a result, everyone shined a little bit more and really took on the onus of, all right, this is what I'm doing, this is what I can nail, and then everything else will just sort of come together?
Yeah, absolutely. We were very diligent on working up parts. We wanted it to still feel organic. I mean, if you had an idea in the room of changing it up, but there was a lot of pre-production of working out what the blueprint of these songs were going to be and what the arrangements were going to be. Where a lot of times you go into a tracking session and it's kind of like, all right, here's the work tape of me playing this thing acoustic. Let's figure it out. Where this was very much more like, I mean, we were tracking 5 songs in one day, full completion.
Wow.
So there was a much more of a plan of parts and hooks, melodic hooks throughout this record than I think more so than we've ever done.
Creatively for you, I'm just thinking, you've just dropped the new album. Solitary Tracks, didn't come out too long ago, and now you're already working on a new project. Creatively, do you ever find, writer's block get in the way? Because it sounds like you're able to just, churn through all these different tracks and ideas relatively easily.
Well, I think that the special sauce might not always be easy. I write every single morning, and it is a part of a cathartic process that I do, and it's training that muscle. And if you tell me to sit down and write a song and you give me a title, I can churn you out a song in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. I can give you a song. Now, it might not be something that I really love, but I have learned how to get past the so-called writer's block. And I think that's just from doing it for so many years and not letting myself give into that. Well, I can't think of anything right now. Now, with that being said, I do write from a lot more of a freedom standpoint now, to where I write first thing in the morning, but if I do hit a wall, I might step away and come back a day later or later that night. But it doesn't mean I necessarily have writer's block. I'm not going to wrestle with it the way that I used to as a full-time songwriter. I might just step away and let it come back to me, and give myself time to really let whatever I'm writing marinate in my brain, in my being, and the darkness was a lot that way. I wrote that chorus pretty fast on my back porch, at least a lot of it. And then I ended up linking up with Andrew DeRoberts and Luke Preston, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later, and bringing that chorus in where I said, I just kind of was a little unsure of what this was telling me to do verse-wise. And then the search began.
I love that approach. It's, I feel like if you have the ability to step away, you can, I guess, sit with it a bit more, like you said, marinate with it a bit more, and it becomes a fuller, I guess, clearer picture in the end. I like that approach.
Yeah, I don't have that quota pressure that I had when I was a full-time songwriter anymore. I can just kind of write freely when I feel like it.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. And look, on the album itself, you said, you wanted to bring a bit of a stadium rock vibe to it, and it does feel like your least straight up country sounding record so far. And it's always incredible to see, an artist go through that evolution and do creatively whatever they want to do sonically. How do you find your fans follow you on that journey as you've played through all these different sounds? Do they get it? Do they have some pushback? Like, what's your experience?
Well, I think when you go back and listen to the second record, that was kind of what gave me the freedom to just do me, where it was a very different record than the first record that was so commercially successful, which was Up All Night. Wild Ones had a lot of rock and roll influence, from Lipstick to Come and Get It, to I'm blanking right now, but there was That Was Us. There was a lot of rock and roll influences with that, even Heart's Desire, where that ended up being a hit on rock and roll radio in South Africa. So I think that the fans, when I saw the explosion of that record, it just gave me the confidence to just kind of trust my gut. And so far, even with this record, when we go into the darkness, the place goes bananas. And Lonely Tonight, for that matter. So I've just tried to trust whatever that intuition is that I have when I'm writing, and I don't really think about genre lines and when I'm trying to be creative.
Well, on the new project, you're already writing. You said before that it's going to sound almost completely different. What can you tell us about, I guess, the new sonic direction you wanted to take the new project in, if I can ask?
Brother, I'm gonna tell you that and nobody's gonna see this one coming. And that's all I can give you right now. I can't. I'm extremely excited about what I've been doing in the last 2 or 3 months.
Okay, we won't see it coming. Do with that what you will, listeners. You've been hitting a few dates across the US and Canada at the moment for the start of the world tour, and you said that already the crowd reception's been really positive for some of the new tracks. Is it ever a surprise to you how quickly audiences can learn the new lyrics to shout back at you from the front row?
I'll tell you what, we did an album release party on a Saturday. The record came out on a Friday, and we only let 200 people into this small rock club in Nashville, and we played the record from start to finish, and it was deafening from start to finish, knowing every single word to that record. So yeah, we just got back from three shows in Germany, Switzerland. We were kind of all over recently, and you could tell that they already knew this record.
They're diehard. I love it.
Yeah, believe me, I do too.
Well, fans down in Australia have been lucky to get such a great touring schedule. You've been down here a few times over the last few years, and each time it feels like the crowds build and love you even more. What do you think it is, I guess, between the connection with Aussie and Kiwi fans specifically that keeps bringing you down here?
Man, I'll say this. Fans are different, not only from country to country, but state to state, county to county. I try not to just put people in a box of, well, Australian fans are this, and New Zealand fans are this, and U.S. fans are that, and Canadian fans are this. For whatever reason, whatever we've been doing as a band, and I would think that a lot of it is the mixture of the music. I think the fans can see that I'm authentic with the music. I think that they know that I'm not bullshitting them. I think that people have fallen in love with the show because we're not strapped to any kind of computer that's pumping a bunch of tracks at them. We are a live, living and breathing 100% live band on stage. And I think the fans feel that. There's a different thing that happens when you're pushing real air through real amps. Yeah. Not hiding behind backing tracks. There's something primal that happens with the band and the crowd and the exchange of energy. And all I can say is I wouldn't keep coming to Australia. I wouldn't keep coming to New Zealand if I didn't feel like there was some kind of special exchange of that energy, because it's hard. It is hard to take the circus all the way over there. It's extremely expensive. Just from a financial standpoint, you basically, you do the grind of all the flights and flying, and you make peanuts just to get over there and play the music for people. So there has to be a love between you and the crowd to keep coming back. And this will be my 50th tour, so that should tell you everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always incredible hearing an artist's perspective on just how expensive Australia is when you're coming from the States or Europe. It's it's baffling.
Yeah, I mean, I got to fly a whole team. You got to get all the hotel rooms. You got to get all the catering. You got to get the PA. You got to rent all the gear because you don't have your gear. You can't ship it all over there. So it is a massive undertaking of epic proportions to go bring the tour all the way over there.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Just on the shows, I mean, neither myself nor my co-host Max have had the pleasure of a Kip Moore show. What should we expect? What do we expect? What should we prepare for?
Tell me you're coming.
Yeah, we are. We're going to come to the Brisbane show. So,
well, look, I want you to get my tour manager's number through. I'm serious, and I want you guys to come back and have a beer with us before the show.
Done. We'll be there.
Okay. I will promise you this. You will leave exhausted, and I truly believe that the next day you're going to be diving through a lot of album cuts.
Okay.
It is a well-oiled machine, and this band, you're going to feel how fine-tuned we are as a unit.
Okay.
And it's we step on the gas, and we step on the gas hard.
Count us in. We'll be there. Do we need to prepare anything? Do we need to bring dance moves? Do we need to, bring our best behavior?
All I hope is that you spend a little time with the new record. You spend a little time with Solitary Tracks, all the records, and all I need from you is that to have a few drinks before you come in. Let all your inhibitions down, and put your phone away for the night and just dial in with us. That's all I ask.
I can do that. It won't take me many drinks to have a good time, that's for sure. I'll be in fine form. Well, for everyone else tuning in, make sure to listen to Reason to Believe, the latest album from Kip Moore, wherever you get your music, and catch him live across Australia and New Zealand with dates in Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Christchurch and Auckland from late October through to November. Kip, thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat.
Cheers, brother. I hope to see you soon.